And I think that, welcome back again, guys. We are on our main event for this episode of Smack Talk, which is going to be a mock draft. Now, a couple people were requesting this. A couple other people were requesting something that we're probably going to do next week, which is a breakdown of the pros and the cons of looking back on the mistakes from the old brand era and all that other kind of stuff. So that's more of a debate back and forth kind of a thing. And I think that that's something that can end up doing pretty well when it comes to next week, because that's something that we're going to know possibly a little bit more information of how they're going to do things, because it's going to be a week before the draft. They better fucking advertise something ahead of time instead of just being like, guys, figure it out on Tuesday. But we don't know what's going to happen with the draft. And one of the only ways that we can kind of get around that is to see how this could work if they try to draft it even teams. Now, if you're going to try to draft it in even teams, what's the best way to do that? It's to go with a situation where one person's picking and another person's picking, and you're actually competing with each other to get the best draft that you can possibly get. So Wago and I are going to be doing that, acting as if we are the Raw and SmackDown general managers, trying to act also as if this is like a non-kayfabe situation, but we also actually have to factor in the idea that's like, well, we're not taking this as like an actual like NBA draft or something. You can't go, okay, well, a Braun Strowman guy, he's somebody who's got a lot of potential, but at the same time, we know that we're going to work on his promos. Promos wouldn't factor in on something like that. So we have to sort of look at that as entertainment value plus what they would do if this was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
It
so
kind of seems confusing, but
it's like the major stars are obviously going to get picked up first.
Yeah, and it's like somebody like a Roman Reigns, his stock went down with this whole thing. So,
like, everybody knows there's like four main guys: Styles, Cena, Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins. 5.
Yeah, and it's like it's going to be really curious when we get down to some of the other people. And we're not going to draft everybody because that would take forever. But we're going to pick 20 different people for each team. And the way that we're going to look at who is available, we're going to look at everybody on the roster. The main roster is available to be drafted. That includes the divas. That includes the tag teams, but that's one individual apiece. We're not going to make it to where it's like, I'm going to draft the Wyatt family and you get 4 people. It's like, no, you got to pick Luke Harper.
Now, I don't remember. Did we say we're going to go nay or yay on Triple H, Lesnar, and Undertaker?
Those, I think, they should be available. And okay. NXT is actually up for grabs, too. So that's going to be interesting, too. And we did a little random number generator ahead of time. I'm going to get the first pick. And I am going to go with probably an easy choice here, but maybe not what everybody would assume. I'm going to go Dean Ambrose. I think that it makes sense for him as the WWE champion to be on Raw.
Alright, so if I know that you've gotten the WWE champion, then I'm going to want the face that runs the place and go with John Cena.
Makes sense. He would have been my second choice if I would have had a chance. But since I don't get John Cena, my second choice has to be somebody who's another main eventer, has to be somebody who can kind of pick up a little bit of the slack, but hopefully can do so as a heel. And even though I want him to turn babyface at some point, I'm going to go Seth Rollins.
Definitely one of the guys I had lined up. But if I'm looking for somebody to feud with my main guy, John Cena, I'm looking at the guy that's already feuding with him and being very entertaining. AJ Styles.
Now here's where this is going to get a little interesting. Most people probably would expect my third pick would be Roman Reigns. I'm going Kevin Owens. I think we've already got this Shield triple threat, and I don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose for the next 6 months. I want Kevin Owens to stick around. I want him to be that damn good on Monday Night Raw.
You see, I'm going a little different myself. I want this guy on my roster. I bring him in as a main eventer from the get-go. I'm going to have him just knee the fuck out of people's faces. Nakamura.
Nakamura going in the first 3 of them.
Styles, Cena, and Nakamura. That's your fucking, 3 top guys in your brand. You've got a lot of good main events in your future.
So here's where things start getting dicey, because now you're running out of like the main people that you're going with and stuff. I still don't want to pick up Roman Reigns, oddly enough. He's a big name, but I don't know. And I think I'm going to go Finn Balor.
Very nice choice. He was definitely high on my list, but since he's still up for grabs, I've got to go with the guy. Roman Reigns.
I was going to give you Curtis Axel there. So just to break down, I'm going to recap this when we get to our first 5 in the next one for people that are kind of following along here. I've got another pick to get with my top 5 here, and I think it's a weird choice a little bit, but I kind of like the idea of having him on this team. Oh man, it's I kind of don't feel too confident with it though. Do I take that risk or not? Yeah, you know what? I like switching things up a little bit. We're gonna go Samoa Joe.
It's fat. Good choice. Now, there's guys like Brock Lesnar who obviously are big names right now, but I'm also worried that, this guy's only showing up for Spirit so often. Like, I want to secure my main event. And it's tough choice, but I'm probably, just because I'm very babyface heavy right now, Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt does make a lot of sense there. So, to recap what we've got so far in our 5s, Wago has John Cena, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Roman Reigns, and Bray Wyatt. Good pack of people right there. And I've got Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe.
You don't have to worry about good matches with either one of those teams.
No, this is looking like a good set of roster right now. Although, you know what's kind of weird? I just realized you've got Styles and Nakamura, 2 guys from that we watched earlier this year with the New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, 2 fat guys.
Yeah, I think I've definitely got the more name power on my side.
A little bit, yeah. But I got some potential. That's one thing that could be a little switch up. I would think if we were going to break this down as like the SmackDown 6 kind of a thing or something like that, I would think some of my guys would be on your side and the opposite. You know, like a Bray Wyatt to me seems more like a Raw guy.
Uh-huh.
So that's why this is getting a little bit interesting with here. And now that you've got Bray Wyatt on that team, it'd be interesting if I took somebody away from the Wyatt family, but I'm not going to.
Oh yeah, you should get Eric Rowan right now. Or Luke Harper, who's injured.
Let's see. I am going to go with a guy that I think still gets a bad reputation more so than he should, but I want to have him around because I do want somebody who's going to be a ring technician, and that's going to be Dolph Ziggler.
Very nice. Very, very nice. He's going to pad out your mid-card and your upper mid-card, depending on if you want him to lose every week or not. For me, though, I have to go with Randy Orton.
I was hesitant to pick Randy Orton.
He's a big name. I think he's better in the ring than the majority of the guys on the roster. Yes, he's injury-prone, but you can also flip him to heel or face whenever you need. He's a very versatile guy.
See, I'm worried that he's somebody who could end up like you draft him and he ends up working out real well and then he spends the whole rest of the year off.
And he's also a guy that, like, for the most part, hasn't feuded with people on my roster. Styles, awesome potential match, not feuded with. Nakamura, same thing. Reigns, he's barely touched the surface with. And Bray Wyatt, and I don't think he's had a memorable feud with him. Yeah. So, like, Cena's the only guy that you have to keep him away from.
So, my number 7 pick is going to be another guy I think is underrated. The Miz. I want that Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, Miz does have a very shiny belt. I can just make new titles, so I'm not worried about that. What I'm going to do is pick up Brock Lesnar, because SummerSlam's going to roll around, so's WrestleMania, and I want Nakamura to knee him in the face on all of them.
I am going to grab somebody who I think you probably would have stolen away if I didn't grab him now. Cesaro.
Yeah, he may have been my next pick. I'm not sure. I was like debating it. But you know who is? Chris fucking Jericho.
See, that was the other guy I was thinking about grabbing.
It was between Cesaro and Jericho, so since you went with the one, I'll go with the other.
Now, I was going to go with Apollo Crews as my next pick, but I'm going to defer on him because I kind of want him to be on your side to kind of balance things out a little bit. Instead, I'm going to go with somebody who I doubt anybody would have imagined me saying. I'm picking Sheamus.
I thought you were going to say Del Rio. I'm going to go a little different from that, and by a little, I mean completely different. Guy I'm picking up next, Austin Aries.
It's a good pick.
Very, very talented individual. A little undersized to be champion in WWE, but stranger things have happened. Easily one of the most underrated indie guys. People always talked about the Daniel Bryans more than him, and they always talked about, I don't know, like there's a bunch of indie darlings. People always took over him. But Aries is just as good as any of them.
So I'm thinking, do you think WWE is going to split up these tag teams? Or do you think that they're going to draft them in one shot?
I have no idea.
What do you think we should do for this? You think you should just get the whole Wyatt family from Bray Wyatt?
I could see them keeping, like, splitting a couple teams up, but, like, drafting the majority of them together.
Let's go with that idea. So let's just say that WAGO'S got the whole Wyatt family. Which means
the whole Wyatt family.
In my team. Which means I need to bulk out my roster a little bit more. And because that also means that you technically would kind of have the club. So
yeah, but say if you picked up Big E, you'd get the New Day.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the New Day. New Day? Off on my side. It still means that I don't have as many people, because you've got about, 3 more people than me at the moment, but one of them's Eric Rowan, so ha.
Yeah, but that's a lot of people on the Wyatt family. That's Luke Harper, Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan.
Mm-hmm.
So, next picks. Is it you or me?
You are next for your 10th pick.
So, for my 10th pick, excluding any additional talent such as the Wyatt family and such, Sami Zayn.
Forget about him, actually.
Ultra talented guy. Not at the top of my list by any means, because he could be jobbed for the next 5 years and be okay.
So, quick breakdown again of the 10 that we've picked. I'm going to do another one when we get to the end with number 20. WAGO'S got Sami Zayn, Austin Aries. That'll be a good match. Chris Jericho, Brock Lesnar, Randy
good
Orton.
Match.
Yeah. Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and the rest of the Wyatt family. Roman Reigns, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles and the Club, and John Cena. And I've got the New Day, Sheamus, Cesaro, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and the champ, Dean Ambrose. So it goes back to me here, and man, I really want to pick up Enzo and Cass, but I have the New Day. I don't need Enzo and Cass at that point. It's kind of superfluous a little bit. But what I do need, I need some people that are going to stick around that mid-card a little bit. And it's kind of a tough call. But between those two, do I go with that one or do I go with that one? I'm going to take the risk, I think. And I'm going to draft Neville.
Oh, he's on that Neville level.
Yeah.
Well, since you ain't picking him up, I'm taking the big Cass and Enzo.
Enzo and Cass. All right, I need some other people. I'm grabbing the Dudley Boyz.
Damn, they were on my list. All right, so since you're not since you've taken the Dudley Boyz, I'm gonna pick up Bobby Roode.
I did not even think that he was technically available, but I'll allow it.
He's on NXT. He's had segments and shit all the time. He's eligible.
He probably could just come right up to the main roster.
Yeah, definitely.
That's for sure. Oh, and by the way, for the people that haven't figured this out yet, we're not factoring in bringing old people back because we don't know who's bringing back. So that's why we're not saying like Carlito and shit like that, or Kurt Angle or Sting.
Stank.
Let's see what we have here. Number 13 draft pick is going to be the Usos.
Hose.
Who's hose? Who's hose? Our hose.
Well, my mid-card's looking thin, and I want to take the Undertaker so you don't have him. But I honestly don't think it would be a smart choice.
Because he wrestles one time a year on a show that's cross-branded.
Yeah, and I've got Lesnar already, which is accomplishing that more than enough. Technically Orton's accomplishing that right now. This is where it starts to get thin. But I'm for my women's division. I don't know if they're being split up or not. But just in case, taking Bayley.
You know what? We switched it up when it came to the tag teams. Why don't we switch it up and just say that the women are cross-branded?
Yeah, let's just say that.
Because I can't imagine them splitting the women up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't work. And now that like we're getting into this with this, if they're trying to go back and forth with this, they're not going to have enough time to do a draft where it's going to have like the women involved too. Like,
so we not including the women, or we are?
Women off the board, and that's not because we don't want to pick them. It's because we want to share them.
They have a tiny division, and there's going to be nothing there for them to do if they're split up. It's like ridiculous. I hope they don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't think they will. I think they're smart enough to realize the damage it'll cause.
And it just makes sense. I mean, I'm still hoping that we don't have extra belts and stuff like that. Like, I don't want the tag teams to be split, but we can't have the women to be split.
And it's a sure thing that we're getting the world titles.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that means that you do get another draft pick instead of Bayley, though.
Apollo Crews.
Makes sense. So my number 14 is going to be Breezango. I think that there's a lot of an upside to Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
He was on my list. He was actually very high on my list of what I got left. So, you're picking up Tyler Breeze. You've not picked up Del Rio yet, right?
Nope.
Good. You're stuck with him. I'm picking Rusev.
Damn it. Son of a bitch. I was hoping that you were going to grab him and I could grab Rusev next. Oh, yeah? Well, fuck you.
Yeah, I knew that had ruined that.
Damn it. I don't want to pick him next. But it's kind of like, you sort of almost have to. I mean, if you're at the 30th draft pick and you haven't picked Del Rio yet. Who do we have in NXT that could take it?
You got Cien or whatever the fuck his name is.
Andrade Cien Alamos.
You've got that one guy. I forgot what his name. Jose.
I know who I've got. American Alpha.
Ah, shit, they were on my list.
I'm picking them.
Yeah, you know what your team doesn't have, Tony? You know what your team does not have? Mwah. And neither does mine, because I'm picking up the Vaudevillains.
I got a feeling Titus is not going to get picked up. What a weird guy. Mwah. So we got... Nobody's going to pick up Gargano. Nobody's going to pick up Sawyer Fulton. Imagine that waste. It's like the Stephanie and Shane or whatever ends up going out there and they're like, my third draft pick is Sawyer Fulton. And everybody goes, huh?
Who?
Oh, it's that douche? So tempted to pick up Ty Dillinger too, because I like Ty Dillinger.
You have him. I don't want him.
I'll probably end up getting Zack Ryder too, so I'm going to hold off on Zack Ryder.
Oh, we have Miguel on the line. Miguel, who do you want to pick up? Is John Cena taken?
Shame Ryback's not worth a damn anymore.
I know, because he'd be a decent pickup if he was still around, but he ain't.
And I don't want to just keep picking up tag teams.
You don't want to get the Lucha Dragons? Want to have Shining Stars? You don't want to pick up Curtis Axel? people on the Big Show and Kane?
Damn it, I have to pick up Del Rio, don't I? Yeah. I have Del Rio and Sheamus on my team. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm glad to sabotage you with that one.
I guess we know which one's going to be the B show. It's going to be fucking this one, because it's going to be like, I don't want to watch this Del Rio match. I don't want to watch this Sheamus match.
Oh, I'm saving Zack Ryder for you, too.
Oh, I'm okay with Zack Ryder being on my team.
I don't fucking want Zack Ryder. You can have him. I'm picking up... You know what? He ain't the worst jobber in the world. Hideo Itami.
Oh, look at that. He just got injured again.
He ain't the worst cripple in the world.
I do need jobbers a little bit, so I'm going to go Social Outcasts.
And that's a lot of guys. Just bulk out your roster, too.
Yeah, 3 more people kind of balances out the club that you got with AJ Styles, although completely not in the sense of main event material.
Yeah, that's true. The club's like borderline upper mid-carders if you want to go that far with them. So, shit, this is where it gets tricky now. Because the women are all shared.
If I had a beard, I'd stroking it right now, scratching it.
I would be stroking my beard.
Amongst other things.
Christ. Just because his bones and body isn't shot like Taker's, I'm going to pick up Triple H.
Look at that. Everybody on your roster just got buried. John Cena and Triple H.
Well,
and Roman Reigns.
Styles is like, oh boys, I think we're fucked.
Man, I don't want to pick up the Ascension. I don't want to pick up the Shining Stars either. I will go the Lucha Dragons.
They were not high on my list at all, but they were like people I thought I might be able to pick up, but you took them. Kane.
Oh fuck, Kane's there. Well, that just reminded me. I'll grab Big Show.
Yeah, that was my other guy I was going to go with next if you didn't. So how many are we up to now?
You have 2 more picks and I have 1 more pick. Oh fuck, I only have 1 more pick.
All right, so
come on, pick Tyson Kidd.
Oh, now's the time to rip any chance of you having a one. I'm taking Taker.
That's okay. He'll still be on the show.
I got the Brothers of Destruction now, so that's a cool little gimmick to trot out now and again.
Now, this is actually a really difficult one here. There's not too many people left to pick from.
Mauro Ranallo.
Oh, fuck. I just completely realized I missed out on somebody. Never mind. I was going to go back and forth between Jack Swagger and Zack Ryder, saying, who do I want to give a little bit more of a push to? Do I keep Zack Ryder in there for something different, or do I go with Jack Swagger to team up with American Alpha? But we completely skipped over somebody. I'm drafting Baron Corbin.
Oh. Well, you know who I'm picking? Mark Henry.
Mark Henry in the mock draft. I hated what's his name?
Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas, yeah. Fuck Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
All right, guys. Well, that's only 20 people on each side. So obviously there's still more people that are left off, which...
Well, technically it's more than 20 people.
Oh, yeah, technically. The people that did not get drafted from this, we mentioned we are sharing all the women on that side of things. But out of the main roster people that did not get picked up, which shows how, like, kind of useless they are a little bit. It's kind of mean to say. Darren Young. So he's not been made great.
The real deal, Titus O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil's not picked up.
Jack Swagger.
You can kiss him goodbye. Jack Swagger, the Shining Stars, Golden Truth.
Which wouldn't have been the worst people to pick up, to be quite honest.
No. Definitely better than the Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get picked up. We do not have anybody for The Rock. But that's mostly because he's inactive for the most part.
I don't think he's in WWE anymore.
I don't think he's going to be making any like real big appearances. I don't think he's going to wrestle again, period.
So for shits and giggles, let's draft an announced team of 3.
Ooh, okay. Well, I went first with the other one, so you go first with this one.
My lead commentator is going to be Mauro Ranallo.
Balance that out. I'm going to go Michael Cole.
Color commentator, Jerry Lawler. I'm just picking the fucking SmackDown commentators.
I'm going to go JBL then.
Shit, I wanted JBL. Corey Graves.
Ooh, Graves is different. And I sure as fucking picking by your text.
Oh, go on, you wanted the Raw commentators, go on.
Huh, so who's left out of these?
Renee Young.
She doesn't really do that anymore.
Tom Phillips.
There is Tom Phillips.
Who else is there?
David Otunga. There is Booker T if he ends up going back to it.
Ah!
I ain't having Booker T and JBL and Michael Cole. That ain't happening anymore. I will give a shot to a young guy who I think is doing a pretty damn good job. I think I'll go Tom Phillips.
Yeah, he deserves a shot. I got Morrow as my straight guy. Corey Graves and Jerry Lawler can be the assholes that antagonize him. It works for me.
And I think Renee Young should do both shows with interviews.
Yeah, we can share her. She's a special talent.
Actually, JoJo's not bad either.
Okay, you can have JoJo.
I would totally have JoJo in many ways. Are there any other people that hadn't got picked out of the main roster? We drafted Tyson Kidd, of course,
because he's crippled and might not wrestle again.
Zack Ryder, but he was almost going to be my last pick. And Ryback. Nobody picked Ryback because we don't think he's going to be around. As far as NXT goes, we did not end up drafting Andrade Almas, Angelo Dawkins, Blake and Murphy. We did not pick up the Revival, Elias Sampson.
I was close to picking it up.
You were going to say yeah to them. I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. GZIM Salmani? Zim Salmani?
Well, if they're not televised, I wouldn't even bother mentioning them. There's a lot of guys they have on there that no one cares about.
There's nobody picking Mojo Rawley, TM61, Gargano, Ciampa, which is one of my favorite people to say out loud. Tommaso Ciampa.
What's he chiamping on?
Carrot sticks.
I'll be specific.
And the guy that, there's also No Way Jose, but as much as you might have said yeah to the Revival, I would have said No Way Jose. And the guy that I almost ended up drafting as well, Ty Dillinger, I think that he deserves to be in there somewhere. But our teams ended up being Team Wago here. Do you want to read yours off?
Sure. I've got for number 1, John Cena. I've got AJ Styles, which includes the club. Shinsuke Nakamura. Roman Reigns. Bray Wyatt, which include the Wyatt family. Randy Orton. Brock Lesnar. Chris Jericho. Austin Aries. Sami Zayn. Enzo and Cass. Bobby Roode. Apollo Crews. Rusev. The Vaudevillains. Hideo Itami. Triple H. Kane. The Undertaker. And Mark Henry.
Mark Henry. Which is a damn good roster. Can't really fault that.
Yeah, I'd be happy seeing that every week. Except
people...
Lesnar, Triple H, and Undertaker you're not seeing every week.
Yeah, you got a couple people that wouldn't be around all that much. Mark Henry hasn't been wrestling a lot lately either. But, I mean, you kind of fill out the ranks a little bit by having 3 extra members of the Wyatt family. You got the 2 club members, so it works. And you got a guy like a Bobby Roode who's real fresh.
Mm-hmm, and I've got a few tag teams there, so it works out for me.
Now, my team, I've got Dean Ambrose heading up the squad as captain, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Cesaro, Sheamus, The New Day, Neville, the Dudley Boyz, the Usos, Breezango, American Alpha. You could tell I was really getting into tag teams there. Alberto Del Rio, Social Outcasts, Lucha Dragons, Big Show, and Baron Corbin. I think that's another good crop, too. I mean, you got some people who can do a lot of in-ring technician work, like Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, and even Kevin Owens to an extent. You got some baby faces, you got some heels, you got some fresh people like Joe and Balor. You got Cesaro, who could be that upper mid-card kind of guy, hanging around with The Miz and Sheamus and Del Rio. Neville, solid mid-carder.
And you know what? Even if you just stick him out there to do his flippy-flop at the start of the show and boost the audience, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. And you can tag some of these people up, too. Like, I'd be up for a Neville and Cesaro tag team if they wanted to do an off kind of a thing. Be kind of interesting. You get like the power and the speed.
Yeah, definitely.
Even somebody like The Miz feuding with like Samoa Joe. It's like
I've got a really good potential makeshift tag team. Jericho and Austin Aries.
I could see that working.
Complete fucking assholes. It'd be great.
Now, Bobby Roode, I think, is one of the main guys in your team that could end up being like the standout. Because you got like Roode versus Randy Orton. That could be a hell of a feud. Roode versus Cena. That could be a hell of a feud. We already know Roode versus Styles works. So if like, Styles turns babyface at some point, I couldn't see Roode versus like a Bray Wyatt, but who's like somebody on your team that you think would end up being like the one to watch, kind of?
Honestly, it'd have to be Roode, because you pretty much like, if you look at the top tier of my guys, most of them are already proven in the main event. So with Roode, he's that guy that's fresh. He's going to work with those guys and be on the same level already, so fans are going to take to him instantly. Very comfortable on the mic, very comfortable in his character. There's no reason like why he wouldn't be the standout of the roster. If I had to go with something a little different, though, Austin Aries. I think that guy's incredibly underrated.
So I'm looking at my team here. I think Finn Balor's the standout.
Yeah, definitely. Finn Balor. I mean, I was ashamed that I couldn't pick him up because I kind of wanted that whole AJ Styles in the club and Balor tease going on, even if the trigger was never pulled. So that's taken out of the equation for my roster. But who else you got, like, who's a underdog or, like, floating under the radar, you think?
Could be a Baron Corbin, maybe, if he improves a whole lot. Cesaro's going to move up the ranks.
Owens, obviously, I think it could be, would in that roster and that landscape would have more time to shine.
Yeah, Owens has to be, at that point, Owens, Rollins, and Joe, and The Miz, I would say, you'd probably make them the top 4 heels. And your top 4 babyfaces, probably Ambrose, Balor, Cesaro, and Dolph Ziggler.
So let's do this, if you don't mind. Critique each other's team. Like, what's the biggest critique you would say of my draft picks?
Looking at that, I would say it's probably the people that aren't going to show up as often. If it not that, lack of tag teams.
Yeah, the other thing I'd say is I've probably got a shallow mid-card, meaning my mid-card's going to be end up, like, top-level guys heavy, which isn't always the bad thing.
No, sometimes that could actually even help out a mid-card. Like, if you got, like, Kane feuding with Rusev, it's going to look better than Rusev against, like, Kalisto.
Now, if I had to critique yours, I'd say the biggest drawaway is that there's no drawing power.
Not even with Ambrose and Rollins, you think?
They're not on a John Cena level by any means. Not many people are, but like if I took John Cena out of my roster, I'd still have Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar. And
Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's true. And Triple H, fuck.
Yeah, like I've got a lot of major stars on my roster.
I think now that we've balanced this out, I think you've got the Raw team.
Yeah, I do have the Raw team.
I've got the SmackDown. I got the people that are like, oh man, did you see that Cesaro versus Neville match? Did you see that Samoa Joe versus...
Yeah, you've got the roster where it's all of these guys would be main eventers if there weren't other people that had already like been there. Yeah, these are like the guys that get buried that everyone will get pissed off about getting an opportunity.
Like on my roster, Xavier Woods could be the Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't a bad thing. It just means a lot of people are getting more opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Now, I really hope that this is a case where SmackDown and Raw are very even. I don't want this to be like the past couple of years, which we'll get into when we start doing the pros and cons and stuff like that. But
yeah, like if we had to balance our rosters a little more, I think the thing you'd end up taking is me taking some tag teams and giving you some top stars.
Yeah, like I'd probably end up tossing you the Lucha Dragons because they're kind of like mid-card at the same time. Probably trade that for like a Chris Jericho. Somebody who's like could possibly leave after a while. But
or a Randy Orton or shit, maybe like Reigns or Cena. Like what? Like if you just took Reigns or Cena, that would actually probably retcon the entire issue.
Depends on if Reigns gets suspended again.
Yeah, Cena's probably the safer bet in hindsight. You can have Orton.
Nah, man, he just got injured.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was something different. We've never done that before on this thing, so make sure that you guys drop a comment below and tell us what you think about this. Was this something that was kind of cool? I mean, obviously, we're not going to do this like next week because you can't do a mock draft all the time. But if you want to see some different things like this, if you have any ideas like that we just don't have for regular segments, but you would be...
And honestly, we've just done a lot of fucking things, so, like, if you think of something different, tell us.
Yeah, I mean, we've done those Smark announce tables and stuff. That's something different that we've done. And I've got some other things lined up that maybe we'll get around to at some point. Still want to do mirror image matchups. I still think that that's kind of interesting. But drop those comments below and also tell us, what roster do you think's better? If you had to only watch one of these shows, would you watch Team Wago? Would you watch Team Mango? Or would you go, oh, fuck those two. They're the main roster things. I'm going to watch NXT and watch No Way Jose.
Yeah, to be quite honest, the one thing we can probably take away and everyone can agree on is NXT would be a shit show after this draft.
Oh, really? It would. It'd be like, your main eventer, Angelo Dawkins. Boo. Oh, wait, do I want to boo this guy? I don't even know if I hate him. But that's it then for this episode of Smack Talk, everybody. 241 is in the bag. Thank you all for listening. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.